Why do so many anime and mangas get bad endings? I guarantee if I asked you that question about some of your favorite anime, you'd tell me that at least a couple of their endings left you unsatisfied. Why does this always happen? Well, a lot of reasons. Disinterest, lack of motivation, and just sometimes the writer's giving out a different ending than the consumers envisioned. And sometimes an anime's finale might differ from the manga or the light novel of the respective series. I'm looking at you, the devil's a part-timer. And while the anime may not always give you the most satisfying ending, it's more likely you'll find what you're looking for in the manga. Sometimes. Cause other times the manga has bad endings too. It kinda baffles me how beautifully constructed some of these stories are just to give lackluster endings out a lot of the time. So, why does this happen? Well, that's a topic for another day, because today we're going to be taking a look at the ReLIFE ending we didn't see if you exclusively saw the anime, and potentially some bonus content you didn't even know existed if you read the manga, as well as the amount of care that the people behind ReLIFE had for the project as well as those who enjoyed it. So let's do it. Before we start, if you haven't seen this anime before, watch it first, or read it if that floats your boat. The anime was crafted so well in making almost every character feel unique and likable. It generally made me laugh, and it's an emotional watch too. Watch it. I'm gonna wait right here for you to watch it. Alright, cool? Alright, cool. Okay, welcome back. It's probably a day or two later, and your eyes are a little sore from all the tears, but now you're ready. Okay, so with the ReLIFE ending, I guess we could say that as a couple. Let's start with the anime. The initial airing of the show went through the summer of 2016. The show had 13 episodes and the ending was barely even an ending. It felt like the ending to a season, much less a finale to a whole show, with the ReLIFE experiment not even being over yet. The whole show built up to how the whole thing would affect Kaizuki after the experiment came to an end and how he would deal with being forgotten by all of his classmates. And it just kinda ended in the middle of all that. But we're not, the writers knew what they were doing. While I do think that they were going to initially end the anime at episode 13 for some behind-the-scenes reasons like most animes do, they were always going to continue the manga, which I get is disappointing to a lot of you because reading sucks and animation makes you tingle, but sometimes you get what you get, and being upset is probably inevitable. However, these beautiful people behind ReLIFE came back with a 4-episode OVA special documenting what happened in the final moments of the ReLIFE experiment and what happened after the experiment concluded. So, I'll just sum it up really briefly. The class reps for the new semester were Kazuomi and Rena. We find out that Chizuru, like Kazuki, is a ReLIFE test subject, and is the test subject number 1 that they were hinting towards. Chizuru starts getting suspicious of whether Kaizuki is actually a high school student, or if he's also a subject of the ReLIFE experiment like her. We also get a better idea that since the fireworks, Chizuru's feelings for Kaizuki are beginning to grow, and vice versa. When being tasked with picking the organizers for the homeroom festival, the male representative picked amongst the students is Kaizuki. Seeing this, Chizuru volunteers immediately as the female organizer. They work on setting up the festival together, in which they grow even closer. As the end to the school year is approaching, it really sinks in for what Kaizuki has been through and how much he values his new life. This is the best group of people he's ever met, and he has never been this happy. He asks if there's any way to stay, but there isn't. It's pretty emotional seeing Kaizuki ripped out of a fresh new life and dragged right back to his adulthood. For Christmas, Kaizuki and Chizuru go on a date, which results in them admitting their feelings for one another. They embrace in a long emotional hug, promising that they would never forget each other, while both knowing that all of their memories of one another will fade away. The ReLIFE experiment then comes to an end with both Chizuru and Kaizuki taking pills to revert back to their adult forms. While Chizuru drifts to sleep, letting the effects of the pills settle in, On spots a note that she wrote in her hand, confessing her love to Kaizuki Arata. They both return to their adult selves, remembering the whole class apart from each other, since the fellow test subjects would not keep the memories of one another. Both Kaizuki and Chizuru are employed to work for ReLIFE, and it's clear how much the experience positively affected them as people. At a dinner, Chizuru and Kaizuki see each other, encountering in a way which resembled their initial meeting of Kaizuki accidentally taking her seat. After the dinner outside, they both talk about their respective times under the ReLIFE experiment. They think back to the night where they watched the fireworks. To them, a night so emotional for both of them knowing what was to come. The fireworks were used as a metaphor for something that fades away, but is never forgotten. They find themselves repeating the same things they said to each other when initially talking about the fireworks. The memories come back, and the visions of who one another were in their ReLIFE also come back. And an ending that kinda reminds me of Your Name, they remember each other. And that's where the story ends. It was such an emotional scene. Actually, pretty much all of the OVA episodes were emotional. The build-up of them having to leave each other behind, their goodbyes, and finally their reunion just isn't a good combination to keep the eyes dry. I got chills watching that ending back, and it's such a satisfying way to end the anime. But what if I told you there was more? Manga time! The manga's version of the anime's closing scene doesn't cut off before the embrace and shows an emotional hug between Kaizuki and Chizuru. After this, it shows them sitting at a bench discussing the ReLIFE experiment more in depth to one another. They tell each other about their real ages and how they don't have to worry about getting attached anymore, knowing that they aren't just in love with some high schooler. The scene ends with them officially getting together. Kaizuki then gets his first subject as part of his new job working for ReLIFE. It turns out to be Kazuomi's brother, who was previously talked about and was said to have been in a rough spot. Kaizuki sees Kazuomi and Rena together and doesn't get upset that they don't recognize him, but instead is happy to see them as a couple. Just like Ryo said, the memories of Kaizuki will fade, but the impact he made on these students will last forever. We see that Kazuomi and Rena get a familiar feeling about Kaizuki, like they're recognizing an old friend or something. Kazuomi's brother accepts the ReLIFE pill and will go through with the experiment. We then see Kaizuki, Chizuru, Ryo, and An discussing and having drinks at Kaizuki's house. They talk about how Kazuomi's brother accepted the experiment sober, while Kaizuki was drunk when he accepted to be a test subject. Hearing this news, Chizuru promptly leaves him and the story ends. Just kidding, the story ends with a beautiful toast with all four of them, starting their new lives as not only co-workers, but also friends. And that's the end of the manga. It shows a bit more than the anime and gives us a nice showing of what we can expect to happen next for all these characters. It's an extremely satisfying ending, and a great place to stop this wonderful series. But, these beautiful people made one last bonus chapter. Are you kidding me? The people behind ReLIFE are too good to us. Let's take a look at chapter 222.5. Chapter 222.5 begins where chapter 222 left off, talking more about how they suspected each other as fellow test subjects. Ryo and An then leave the apartment, leaving Kaizuki and Chizuru alone. They reminisce about the last time that they were in a situation like this, and now Kaizuki makes a move on her. After more talk about the past, Chizuru tells Kaizuki that she loves him, and boom, fan service. ReLIFE gives the kiss scene. As an anime fan, I cannot explain why, but these moments mean a lot to us, so just don't worry about it. They talk about how they aren't just some high schoolers and they could have a proper relationship. They hint at the sex before cutting away from Kaizuki and Chizuru. The story then brings us to Ryo and An, who throughout the story it always was made clear that An liked Ryo and that Ryo would always just kind of lead her on. Get it? An, like her name. Ryo confesses past jealousy whenever An would do things around other guys, and An takes this as a joke until Ryo kisses her. Also, Ryo is a sadist, and I love it. But that's not all the relationships. The story then takes us to Kazuomi and Rena's wedding. We get to see so many of the old classmates, and it shows Kaizuki and Chizuru interacting with them. Then scene shows all of them taking a picture together, this time leaving Kaizuki able to cherish it knowing he won't vanish from this one. Reunited with his former friends and ready to begin his new ReLIFE experiment, the story ends with Kaizuki smiling, looking deeply into the picture. Okay, can I just say that they did not need to make this? This is the kind of ending that fans of many animes and mangas would kill for and write in fanfictions but would never get to see. The story of ReLIFE was absolutely incredible, the characters were done to near perfection, and the people behind ReLIFE cared about giving the viewers the best ending possible. And seeing all of the bonus content and all of the characters living happy is just a great feeling, and is the perfect note to end on. So as we looked at today, there was a lot of moments in ReLIFE where the show was supposed to end, but the people behind it just kept putting out more and more content. Seeing the passion behind the series, as well as fan speculation, in my opinion, one more OVA special seems entirely possible. Not that we need it though, the ending that we've been given is incredible, and if there's anything that I would like to see in an OVA special, it would probably just be the bonus chapters that we just took a look at today. ReLIFE is an incredible, funny, emotional, well-written anime, and will receive nothing but praise from me. I hope you enjoyed hearing me talking about the ReLIFE ending that you may not have ever even knew existed. Thank you so much for watching this. I've been working really hard on all these videos. Next week, we'll see what I do. I got a couple things planned, a couple anime stuff you want me to cover. You can put it down in the comments section. And yeah, I've been having a great time. Leave a like. Apparently it helps with the algorithms, so that'd mean a lot to me. Yeah, I've been enjoying myself here on YouTube, and I hope you could tell. I hope the quality of the content shows that. Appreciate all the people that have been watching. It genuinely does mean a lot to me. I've been doing my best, but that's been me. Let me know what you'd like to see next. Like, hit the fucking bell, subscribe, all that. And if you haven't checked out my past videos, go ahead and do that, because they're good, I think. Alright, cool. I think we're done. Alright, cool. I thank you so much for watching. I apologize for sitting through. I've been JackTSS. Take it easy.